in 1998, when I was 15 years old, I felt like I was really good at finding my way around the woods. It was my way of getting away from all the usual things I had to do every day. I had a job fixing things in a small town in West Virginia. It wasn't the most fun job, but it helped me pay for things I needed. When I wasn't working, I loved hunting and fishing. It was pretty simple to find good places to hunt because most landowners were okay with me helping control the number of deer. One evening in October, during bow season, I left my three-wheeler and walked to where I usually hunt. Carrying my bow and gear, I found a good tree to set up my stand about 20 feet above the ground. It was my special spot where I could relax and enjoy watching nature. At about 5:30, the forest started getting darker, but because the moon was coming up, it wasn't too scary. Around 8 o'clock, I heard some rustling. I thought it might be a deer, but I couldn't see it. When I started to climb down, there was a lot more noise, like something got scared and made a fuss. I packed up fast and turned on my flashlight. The woods were spooky at night with only the flashlight. I tried to get out, staying near the bushes, but I got lost. At 9 o'clock, I got back to the field, not far from where I went in. Then, I noticed something strange, a huge shadow blocking my path. It was really big, like 6 feet wide and tall, just standing there. I walked closer, thinking it might be a strange shadow caused by the light. But it turned out to be two people, a guy and a girl, maybe about 20 years old. They were just standing still, not doing or saying anything. I went by them, but they didn't say anything or come after me. When I got back to my truck, I felt even more worried. I checked it really well because I thought someone might be hiding and trying to bother me. The next day, when I was at work, I couldn't stop thinking about those two people. It was strange because they weren't supposed to be there. It didn't make sense to me. But what was even more odd was when I went to get some food for lunch, I noticed that all 4 tires of my truck didn't have enough air, and I found lots of nails used for roofing stuck in them. It didn't make sense because I hadn't seen any other cars nearby. It felt like someone was watching me every time I went hunting in those woods. I couldn't get rid of that feeling. So, I stopped going by myself and started parking on the main gravel road all the time. A few weeks later, something surprising happened. I met some other hunters at a nearby event. While we were chatting about our experiences, one of them shared a strange story. They talked about meeting 2 hikers in that same place. These hikers said they were lost and trying to find their way back to their campsite. Here's the thing. The way they described themselves was just like the couple I saw in the woods. They said they were camping far away, so it didn't make sense for them to be there. Then I realized something important. Those 2 weren't lost hikers. They were in a place where they weren't supposed to be. That scary meeting really scared me. I didn't get why they were hanging around or why someone would mess with my truck. It was confusing, and I never figured out what they wanted or who messed with my tires. But after that, I always went hunting with a friend and didn't park in secluded places. Those woods still make me feel uneasy. I went on my first hunting trip when I was 15 with my friends Max, Jake, Ben, and Ben's girlfriend Mia. We decided to hunt elks in a faraway place in Montana. We packed 2 big tents, warm sleeping bags, lots of food for a few days, drinks, and guns. Max gave me a hunting rifle that looked like the others. I wasn't sure about hunting because I didn't like the idea of hunting animals just for fun. But my friends convinced me to go, so I agreed. I decided that I wouldn't shoot any animals though. We drove for a really long time, going through twisty roads with lots of tall trees all around. Finally, Max parked in a big space. Then, we started a really long walk into the forest, carrying our heavy bags. The air was cool and fresh. The trees made noise as the wind blew, and we could hear nature sounds far away. Eventually, after a very long time, we found a spot without many trees and set up our camp. When everything was ready, Max got serious and started talking about how to hunt animals. I tried to joke that we might scare the animals away, but Max didn't think it was funny. He was really focused on it, so I stopped fooling around. We went hunting and had some interesting experiences. While walking in the woods trying to find elusive elks, we unexpectedly came across 3 strange-looking men. They were big, rough-looking, and their hair was messy. They seemed like they hadn't bathed in a long time. When they walked past us, they just nodded, which felt spooky because we were deep in the woods and the parking lot was empty. It made us feel uneasy, especially since they looked a bit intimidating. Thankfully, they didn't follow us, so we avoided any potential trouble. While hunting, Max shot a deer, but we didn't find any elks. It was hard work bringing the deer back to our camp. When we got there, Max and Jake took care of removing the skin and insides of the deer. It was a bit gross for me, so I turned my head away. But then, Max amazed us by making venison burgers. Even though I didn't really like hunting, I had to admit Max was really good at it. At night, being in the woods felt really different. Even though my friends Max and Jake were sleeping soundly and snoring away, I couldn't get comfortable in my sleeping bag. I kept moving around, trying to find a good position. Just when I was thinking of getting up to go to the bathroom, I heard footsteps near our tents. My heart started racing, and I got really scared. I thought it might be Maya or Ben, but then I thought, what if it's not them? So, I stayed quiet and didn't say anything. The zipper of the tent opened, and I pretended to be asleep. I heard the footsteps going towards Mia and Ben's tent, thinking it was them coming to check on us. After a little while, I felt brave enough to peek outside. The moon made spooky shapes, and the sound of leaves moving made things even scarier. I quietly opened our tent and went towards their tent, but when I got there, their tent was already open, which was strange. As I got closer, I saw two men inside their tent doing something to Maya. I got really scared and screamed to wake up Max and Jake. They came out with their rifles, yelling, and the two men ran away. But then, more men suddenly appeared from everywhere. It was really frightening. We tried to wake up Mia and Ben, but they were sleeping really deeply. We got really worried because we couldn't call for help since there was no phone signal. We had to wait for them to wake up. It felt like a really long time, and we were really nervous, looking around to make sure we were safe. Finally, after waiting for what felt like forever, Maya and Ben started to wake up. We didn't know who they were and felt scared they might be part of a strange group. We quickly went back to the car in the dark forest. We were just glad that we all got out of there safely. Before I continue to the next story, if you are interested in earning from YouTube without showing your face, or without making videos by yourself using artificial intelligence, like the video that you are watching right now, then I have a special free training for you. Check the first link in the description below to get instant access. I live in the Smoky Mountains in Tennessee, up in the hills. It's really pretty here. Great for camping and hunting. When I was 15, I went hunting with my dad in October. He wanted to show me how to use guns safely, just like he learned when he was young. Some people might think I was too young, but I knew all the safety rules. We walked for a long time carrying our food and water. Dad wanted to take me to a secret place to hunt deer, but he wasn't sure if it was too hard for me. Then, not far away, I saw a huge deer. Dad asked me to get my .22 gun and showed me how to aim. But when I shot, I missed by a lot. I felt a bit sad, but then I saw a man coming out from behind a tree very close to us, about 10 feet away. I said hi to a man, and Dad thought we should move somewhere else. But that man kept following us from far away. It was weird because not many people usually go deep into the woods, especially someone who looked like him. As we were walking, I asked my dad about the person we saw. He didn't know and said to ignore him. But then I heard some noises from behind us. Dad stopped, took a deep breath, and looked back. It was the same person, with a creepy smile on his face. I felt really uncomfortable, and I could tell Dad felt the same way too. Dad told the person to leave because we had weapons. But that person didn't listen and kept smiling. Suddenly, 4 more people showed up. They were all wearing masks. One had a huge axe, and the others had baseball bats. We couldn't fight them, so Dad took my arm, and we ran as fast as we could. I hoped they wouldn't follow us. I thought I heard footsteps, but I didn't want to check. When we reached the parking lot, no one was there. We got in the truck and left before nightfall. Mom got really mad and said I couldn't go hunting with Dad anymore. After 2 weeks, I was sitting at the table with Dad, watching the news. They said some scary stuff about people getting attacked in the same forest we went to for hunting. A man and woman were camping. They were attacked after going for a walk. The woman was stabbed and died right away. The man was hit and passed out. Other people in that area were also attacked, according to the news. The police began looking into it and arrested some people, including someone we saw. When I saw his face, it gave me a really strange and creepy feeling. I still don't understand what those people wanted or why they scared us. But if they had weapons, it seemed like they were up to no good. It was really scary, and even now, I can't figure out why they did what they did. So, remember that surprising turn during the hunting trip? After we hurried and got into the truck, we thought everything was okay. But when Dad tried to start the truck, it made strange noises and stopped working. We were stuck there. We had to walk back to town because our truck couldn't go. When it got dark, the forest felt spooky. We heard strange sounds, like leaves moving, and noises. Dad stayed calm, but I was really scared. Eventually, we made it to a ranger station and told them what happened. It turned out that the people who were following us had messed with our truck. I felt so relieved to be safe, but it also made everything scarier. I couldn't stop thinking that those people might have been planning something worse than just scaring us. We were lucky to get out without getting hurt, but even now, just remembering, it gives me chills.